So I recently read a survey that says over 90% of self-taught guitar players are not happy with the progress they're making. They often feel very stuck and frustrated and they're not quite sure how to even improve. And guitar progress seems like a super slow, endless grind, and most of them are not quite sure if they will ever reach a professional level or if they ever will be able to play the songs and guitar solos they love, because it seems way out of reach and progress feels super slow. If you can relate to any of that, you just clicked on the absolutely perfect video, because I do have a great solution for the slow progress syndrome, and it's quite simply working on extremely effective exercises. That's the best way of simply 10xing your progress without practicing longer, without working harder. You simply have to start working on exercises that have multiple benefits in your practice routine and that will get you to your desired level much faster. For example, just like this one. Let's check out the first exercise. So this first exercise is really great because you have to combine your fingers in interesting ways that you might not be used to. So this is great for your finger strength and independence. You're working with perfect fifths, so the classic power chords. For example, the A power chord right away. I think you did this before. You can use your index finger and your ring finger on the 5th fret on the low E string and the 7th fret on the A string. Concerning the picking technique, I'm working with hybrid picking here. So I'm always picking the lower string and plucking the higher string with my middle finger at the same time. Just like this. But then it gets interesting right away. We move to the next power chord, but instead of shifting the finger position, so just moving the index finger and ring finger up, I'm using my middle finger and my pinky to switch to the next power chord. So just like this. So this is how it looks like, really slow. And then I'm changing the perfect fifth intervals to minor third intervals. So the fingers are essentially swapping their job. The index finger moves to the A string and the ring finger moves down to the E string. And I'm playing the notes B and D. Then instead of moving this up, once again, I'm activating my middle finger and my pinky finger for the next minor third interval, 1 fret higher than the other. And this might look easy, but I dare you to give this a try. It feels super awkward to switch between the notes this way. This is great because when most guitar players work on their finger technique, they just play through scales. But using interesting finger combinations like this, like combining the middle finger with the pinky finger, which you probably don't really do at the same time all that much, really helps with playing faster and feeling every single finger as you're blazing through scales and arpeggios. So for the first half of the exercise, you keep this pattern up and you move it through the strings. But then as you're moving back down, we're changing the pattern a little bit to make it even more tricky. Now you're instantly switching between perfect fifths and minor thirds, just like that. So quite a brain twister. So in the first position, perfect fifth, minor third. Then you move to the second position where you use the middle and pinky finger, perfect fifth, minor third, and so on until you reach the end of the exercise. By the way, my friend, all of these amazing, super practical and effective exercises are part of the brand new Progress Booster package. I made this one especially for my Patreon Guitar Academy on patreon.com/burn. My students over there can download these insanely helpful weekly guitar practice packages that include play-along videos at slow and fast tempos so that you can practice together with me, backing tracks with and without my guitar, detailed guitar profiles and also PDF tab sheets. And in addition to these weekly practice packages, students over there also get access to my full in-depth guitar technique courses, my super fun and easy to understand music theory courses, and even my really helpful home recording courses. To this day, I could help over 40,000 amazing guitar students in my Patreon Guitar Academy with reaching their goals on the instrument. So if you're self-taught and you feel a little bit stuck on your journey right now, this is exactly what you need. It's an absolute no-brainer. Just click the link down below, patreon.com/burn, sign up today, and let's finally also take your guitar skills to a world-class level by finally introducing a structured way of practicing that will get you to your personal guitar goals 10 times faster than just practicing random ineffective stuff all day. I'm waiting for you over there. Just click the link down below and see you inside. next exercise is based on arpeggios, and it's once again great for your finger control. So this really makes your fingers stay close to the neck, but you're also alternate picking those arpeggios. So this will also help with cleaning up your string transitions. Starting out with this really cool and quite common major 7th arpeggio shape. And the goal is to closely watch your middle finger and pinky finger, because they shouldn't bend away from the neck like this as you're playing through the major 7th shape. They should all be relatively close to the neck like this. And I'm alternate picking here, so always down, up, and so on. And the fun fact about this exercise is this is actually what Charles Berthoud, the awesome bass player I was just on tour with in Europe, used to get his fretting hand under control. That's why I wanted to show it to you in this video. And to make it more interesting, I'm moving it up. So first I'm playing the F major 7th arpeggio, then I'm going to the G major 7th arpeggio. And after that, back to F major 7, and then I'm playing an E minor 7th arpeggio at the end, which requires just a little bit of stretching. So essentially the same shape, I'm just swapping the major 3rd for a minor 3rd and the major 7th for a minor 7. So here's the full exercise for you. Make sure to alternate pick all of those notes and keep your fingers close to the neck, especially watch your middle finger and pinky finger for all of those shapes. The next exercise is great for your sweep picking, which is something that a lot of guitar players struggle with. And this one is quite special because it's not based on your usual kind of arpeggio shapes, like the common major and minor shapes metal guitar players use all of the time. Instead, they're kind of based on chord shapes actually. So the first one is a minor 7th flat 5 chord, or as it's often called, a half diminished chord. It sounds pretty cool. And then I'm switching to a regular D minor chord. So that's a pretty cool progression in my opinion. And when I start this exercise and I start sweeping, I want you to pay attention to the index finger and also to the rest of the fingers, because the middle, ring and pinky fingers kind of stay in place for both of those chord shapes, so they don't move back and forth just like this. But the index finger is jumping from the A string to the E string. So it's kind of like this. These 3 fingers stay very close to the neck and kind of stay in position, while the index finger is jumping back and forth like this for the shapes. And here's the second shape, the D minor shape. I think you recognize this one. Just this super basic minor chord. I'm just switching from D on the A string to A on the E string with the index finger. And here's a closer look at my picking hand when I'm doing this. So I want to avoid individual picking strokes for all the strings just like this. And I want a smooth gliding or sweeping motion across the strings just like that. So continuous downstrokes and continuous upstrokes. So even with a slow tempo like this, I'm gliding across the strings and you can't see me picking every single string. So once again, this is not what you want, because it will be very hard to speed this up. And here's a good example. This is what you want it to look like. As you can see, there are also no crazy angle changes, so I'm not sweeping in one direction like this and in the other direction like that. It's a movement just like this. My hand is following the strings, so I'm not anchoring my picking hand and moving like this. My hand is loosely based on the bridge and I'm sweeping in this direction like this and in that direction back up, so down, up, down, up. And I make sure that I have the same picking angle for every single string so that all the notes sound the same and so that I feel comfortable on all the strings just like this. So this exercise might be my favorite one of today because it teaches your fingers to stay close to the neck and you're playing quite unusual arpeggio shapes. And it's also great for your sweep picking and really connecting those two hands, so hand synchronization. And to today's last exercise is great for building speed with your alternate picking and for synchronizing the hands some further because you're playing a scale phrase. This one is quite tricky because you're playing in triplets, as you can see, but you're not just playing 3 notes per string all the time or 6 notes per string. That's the thing you usually do when you're speed picking and working with triplets, because that's quite easy to speed up. You don't really have to use your brain so much. For this pattern that I want you to practice, you're starting with 3 notes, which is nice. So 3 16th note triplets, but then on the next string, on the B string, you're playing 5 notes, still triplets, but a group of 5. And you're starting with an upstroke on that string because you're playing down, up, down on the G string before you move to the B string. Then you have another group of 5 notes on the G string. Then another group of 5 on the B string, once again starting with an upstroke. Then you're ending with a group of 3 again to mirror the pattern. And one quick upstroke, 1/8 note to end the pattern. So quite a brain twister, considering that you have to continue thinking in triplets in order to play this pattern. You're repeating this pattern twice and then you're keeping the same system, but you move it down to the lower scale position in the A minor scale. So the next pattern starts with D on the 7th fret on the G string. Just like this. And when I speed up those 2 patterns, it sounds like that. So this is the first one, and the second one sounds like this. So this is not just a great technical exercise for both of your hands and for synchronizing them. I think it's also a great creative workout because you learn how to work with odd note groups, like groups of 5 when you're playing triplets, in order to come up with more interesting and less predictable licks. Alright my friend, make sure to click the link down below, patreon.com/burned, download the brand new practice package right now and get to work. I promise that these exercises will help you with getting closer and closer to your guitar goals after just a couple of weeks of practicing them, because they are super effective. So don't waste any more time, click the link down below, join my online guitar academy, become my student today. I'm waiting for you inside. See you over there.